Hello everyone, Cape Town's biggest motoring event, the Killarney Motorshow, is finally back. I'm going to see if I can speak to some of the owners about their cars, but first I'll show you a clip of some of the cars here today. What is your name and what car do you have here today?
Hi, I'm Des. This is a original Volkswagen Porsche 914 that was sold in the United States, and somewhere in the States the guys ended up doing a body kit on it and fitting a Renegade Hybrid's V8 conversion to it with, as you can see, massive oversized radiator, electric water pump, fuel pump. It's all controlled by a Spitfire ECU, and it runs a Chevy 305 V8.
Do you know how much power it makes?
No, I've got no idea, but it's enough. The car weighed from the factory originally 910 kilos. So if you add, let's say, a mild V8, 250 horses or 275 horses, with that kind of weight, the power to weight is
it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. No. Look, it's not slow. Let's put it like that.
It doesn't look slow. How did you become the owner of this car?
Well, the car was brought into the country by a guy that immigrated from the States in 2002, I think, and he was going to put it onto the racetrack in Joburg. Never got around to that. He then eventually sold it, and a guy by the name of Louis Kluter, father and son VW fame from Joburg that races Beetles on closed circuit. They built the car, or should I say, he took the car apart and put it back together. And I had a motor which he wanted, or which I was going to give to him to redo for me, and I decided, well, actually, he said to me, don't I want to sell the motor? And I said, well, not really, but he'll swap me. When he mentioned this, I said, okay. And I didn't even see the car. I just saw footage of it and photographs, and I had the car delivered without sitting in it, driving it, or anything.
So have you done any modifications to the car, or is this?
No, I've done absolutely nothing to it.
Any future plans for the car?
Yes, I'm going to give it a nice, good diet.
Okay, some weight reduction.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of potential in this car to make it competitive, i.e. weight. The wheels are wrong, but everything else is there. The brakes are there. It's got Porsche 911 vented brakes all around. It's got a Porsche gearbox in it. It's got a very stiff suspension on it, adjustable anti-roll bars. The gearbox is modified from a 5-speed to a 4-speed. So, yeah, there's room for improvement, a lot of improvement, but the basics are there. Today's the first time that I've actually brought it out after being in storage since 2019.
There's a lot of attraction to this car. A lot of people are staring at it, wondering what it is.
Yeah, I'd say Chev on the front, but that's not what it is. The heart is a Chev, yes.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me about your car.
You're welcome, thank you.
It's a pleasure. what is your name and what car do you have here today?
Hi, my name is Malcolm Leach. This is my 47 Dodge fluid drive. Yeah, one of a collection of mine. So yeah, but yeah.
What engine is in here and do you know how much power it makes?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I think it's 100 horsepower.
Okay.
All right. It is a 6-cylinder side valve motor, a 3.8 litre or 231 cubic inch.
How did you become the owner of this car?
Okay, so long story. I bought a 42 model, and my father was traveling at that point, whatever, one day, and he came across a car standing that he saw, and he went and approached the guy to buy the spares car. Ended up we bought the spares car, whole pile of spares plus this car. And then when he moved out of Cape Town, he didn't have garage space the other side. So up until that point, we had basically shared the car. And then he said to me, well, there you take the car, and it became mine. And he bought it in 97. I took it over in 2006-ish.
Lucky guy. Have you done any modifications to this car?
As we got it, no. From new, it runs a 12-volt electrical system, as it should have been 6 or was 6. We've put indicators and stuff like that, so safety things that we've added onto it. But original side valve motor in it, stock standard mechanicals, all that type of stuff.
What condition was the car in when you got it?
Like this. We've done a little bit here and there, but nothing major. We've not done a complete respray or anything like that. So yeah.
How often do you get to drive this car?
Fairly often. I take it out at least once or twice a month, and I'll go to club events and that type of stuff with it. In terms of distance I've travelled, she goes to obviously a lot of the shows around Cape Town. I've taken it up the west coast to Darwin and that sort of area a couple of times. I've been to Amanus to the shows there. Well, this was there quite often, and then I've taken it to George once.
Okay.
Yeah, to the George car show there.
Do you have a name for the car?
No, I don't. No, I'm not into that. So.
Okay. I want to thank you very much for.
Hang on, I've got one thing I want you to do.
Okay. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us. I really appreciate it. And yeah, beautiful car.
Yeah, sorry it was a bit dirty in the rain.
It's the weather.
Yeah.
Cheers, thank you. Hi, what is your name and what car do you have here today?
I'm John, and this is a 1959 Morris Traveller.
What engine is in here and do you know how much power it makes?
Makes a hell of a lot of power. More than I'm used to. In fact, it was sold to me just by me getting in and switching it on and driving it. I decided I'm buying it. It's got a 1200 Nissan motor, probably the GX, with Honda. I think they call them side drafts, and it's got a 5-speed gearbox and a Nissan diff. Makes all the difference in the world. It actually keeps a traveller, an old traveller, on the road. Lovely car to drive.
So it's almost like modern modifications in a...
Yeah, a modern car, but in the clothing of an old timer.
So have you done any modifications to this car?
I've just bought it. In fact, I took delivery 2 days ago. Yeah, so
2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah. So actually, I don't know much about this car, but I do believe that some evidence that I've got is that it was a complete write-off, and it was restored about 20 years ago from being a Code 3, a complete wreck, full frontal smash, and I think they made a beautiful job out of it. It was cream. You can see there's some marks here. You can see it definitely was a cream car, and that made me realize because I saw the car in a smashed up condition.
Okay. In those 2 days, have you been able to take it out on the road? And
Yes, just driving here today, but I have been, went down to the waterfront in it the other night, and in fact on Thursday night, and went up to Val Drive in 5th gear. Needs no exchange, no, don't have to change down or anything, so quite amazing really, the amount of torque in this engine.
so in 2 days, have you been able to name the car?
Yes, hot stuff. Yeah, every Morris has a name, there's no doubt about it. Apparently by the previous owner called it the Mog, but there are too many of those in the club called the Mog. So I thought when I saw the red color, it had to be hot, and the power, hot stuff.
No, I love these cars. They've got lots of character. You said you've also got another car here. Can we have a look at that one?
Sure, we can
Okay.
go to
So what is this car you've got here?
Okay, so this is a Morris Minor. What's the catchphrase was it's an MM. So that's, if anybody talks to you about an MM, this is what it is. It's usually a low light. But with the same engine, they put the lights up in about 1951 up in the mud guards. So those are called MMs, and they've got a side valve engine. It's a 918cc side valve engine, so it's smaller than the 1000 engine. Very slow, incredibly slow because of the side valve, and very noisy. I bought this in 2005 from about the third owner. The first owner, funny enough, was Bronwyn Morris, and she bought it in October 1950, and it was sent to the Morris or Leyland, no, it wouldn't have been Leyland, would have been the, anyway, whatever it was, the British garage in Worcester, and I believe that she might have been the sister of R.H. Morris, who built all our highways in Cape Town.
Oh, okay. But that doesn't have any affiliation with Morris.
No. Just it was so funny that she was the first owner of the car and her surname was Morris. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And have you done any modifications to this car?
It's been. I first did a complete rebuild, but it looked exactly like this. It just needed bodywork done. So I stripped it and we sprayed everything. Wasn't a very good job. I was very unhappy with the first person who did it, and then a few years later I had it. I didn't strip it. I just had the body resprayed. So it's looking like it is, but it's whole. As I say, I bought it in 2015, so I've had it for 17 years.
I'm sure it didn't come with this red pinstripe here.
It actually does.
Oh, really?
But that's the correct size.
Okay.
This is obviously standard tape that was put on by the last guy who sprayed it, but it comes with a much thinner tape. But some of them have it, the ones that don't have chrome, but you see the little pinstripe in there.
Oh,
so it
okay.
shouldn't be so
prominent.
prominent as this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how often do you get to drive this car?
I think every car gets driven once a week at least.
Nice.
And I've got another one here, a blue four-door, which I generally that's more of a normal Morris, which I've been driving mostly on a daily basis.
And a name for this car?
This one is Betty.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us about your cars. They are absolutely beautiful cars.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
So much.
Hi, what is your name and what is one of your cars you've got here today?
My name is John Kirsten. This is called the Ginetta. It's made in Leeds in the UK. It's a purpose-built race car.
And what engine is in here, and do you know how much power it makes?
These cars come with 3 variations of engines. The specific one is a VK45, which is a Nissan V8. They estimate about 550, 650 horsepower.
Do you do the modifications to these cars?
No, these cars come, like it's standing here, they come from Ginetta themselves. No additional modifications, we race them the way they come from the factory.
How many of these cars do you guys have?
We got two of these specific ones, the orange ones. We've got a smaller one with a Ford V6, and we've got another one with a Chev LS3 V8 motor in.
And how did they perform on track?
They perform very well.
Very well.
Very well.
What are some of the other cars you've got here today?
Well, we got minis, we got little Formula Fords, we got Van Diemen's, some old rally cars, classic cars.
If somebody wants to modify their car or build a race car, how can they get hold of you?
They can contact me on my cell number.
Okay, I'll put your telephone number in the description of the video.
Okay.
Do you own any of these cars?
Only one of them, which is the Mark 1 at the end of the Senate, which is my daughter's car, but my cars are not here.
So who does this car belong to, if you're allowed to say?
Okay, all these cars belong to a very good friend of mine, Dr. Greg Mills. He owns all the cars, myself and Grant, which is my partner. We prepare and clean all the cars for him.
Do you do any racing?
I do myself as well. I've just taken a gap year this year to concentrate on these cars, but we'll get back into it next year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for chatting to us about your cars. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Hi, wat is jou naam en wat se voertuig het jy hier vandag?
Gerhard Koekemoer, en dit is 'n 1976 Escort merk 2 en die oorspronklike bakwerk was 'n 1300L bakwerk geweest waarmee ek begin het. Dit was 'n bakwerk wat ek gekoop het by 'n scrapyard vir R145, 'n leë dop, daar was niks in hom nie en daarvan het ek 'n kar begin bou.
Het lyk nie meer of hy die oorspronklike motor in het nie. Wat se motor is hy in en hoeveel krag maak hy?
Weet jy, dit is eintlik baie min van hierdie kar wat nog oorspronklik is. Sy hele vloer onderdeur is vervang met 'n Cortina merk 5 onderstel, suspensie voor, agter suspensie. Dis 'n 302 Ford engine met Edelbrock heads en cam en die tipe van goeders en hy is omtrent in die omgewing van sy 230 kW.
Die voertuig lyk pragtig. Hoe lank het dit jou gevat om hom in hierdie kondisie te kry?
Ek het oor 'n tydperk van omtrent 7 jaar tussen 1992 en 1998, so van 1998 af, lyk hy soos jy hom vandag hierso sien. Dis omtrent 24 jaar.
Wow. En wat was soos van die groot uitdagings gewees om hom so te laat lyk nou?
Weet jy, ek dink as 'n ou die hele projek kyk, was alles 'n uitdaging want as jy dink aan die jare wat ek hom gebou het, daar was nie internet wat jy kon navorsing doen en daai tipe van goed nie. So wat jy wou hê, moes jy self maak en self soek, jy weet. So ek dink dit was van die uitdagings. Gelukkig daai jare was die parte daar meer volop as vandag. So ek dink vandag sal dit baie meer uitdagings wees. Maar dit was 'n lekker projek en wat ek probeer het was om 'n all-round tipe voertuig wat van engine tot by die boot netjies en ordentlik gebou is, jy weet. En die tipe van goeders. Hy het 'n 4-spoed outomatiese radkas met overdrive en limited slip diff, skuifremme reg rondom, 4-pot calipers voor, so power steering, elektriese vensters, genuine leer binnekant, so hy hanteer en hy ry baie lekker.
En hoe gereeld kry jy geleentheid om die voertuig te ry?
Weet jy, ek ry nie baie met hom nie vir die eenvoudige rede. Daar's te veel hooligans op die pad. Jy weet wat ou bang is, hy ry hom stukkend. So 'n slag as ons met hom ry is, maar vroegoggend wanneer die verkeer stil is, dan ry ek en my vrou so draai met hom. Hier agter my staan een van my ander speelgoed wat ek bietjie meer gereeld ry. So hy ry maar min om jou idee te gee. Hy's in 1998 klaar en hy het nou 'n genuine 11000 km op. So dit gee jou 'n idee hoe baie kom ry.
Ja. En wat is dit van hierdie voertuig wat dit so spesiaal maak vir jou?
Weet jy, ek dink nie dit was noodwendig 'n kwessie van dat ek spesifieke Escort op daai tyd gekies het nie. Ek het die bakwerk gekry. Ek het 'n engine gehad. En obvious is as jy die goed het, dan begin jy die goed bymekaar sit, jy weet. Ek dink dis waar dit begin het.
En sê my, het jy 'n naam vir die kar?
Wel, ek noem hom Bolt not Bot.
Nice. Wel, ek wil vir jou baie dankie sê dat jy jou tyd vir ons gegee het om te praat oor jou voertuig. Dit is seker een van die mooistes wat ek nog gesien het.
Baie dankie, ek waardeer dit, hoor. Baie dankie man.
Dankie. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Unfortunately I wasn't able to interview too many people. It's just too noisy and too much commotion. But an absolutely fantastic day out, and I want to thank you so much for watching. Cheers.